What would you do if the love of your life walked away without a word? What if they promised to return, but years passed in silence and you were left with nothing but unanswered questions? Imagine living with that emptiness, hoping, waiting, and then one day out of nowhere, they appear again. But this time, they're not the same person, and neither are you. What happened to your love? What happens when they return, but they're no longer the person you thought they were? Hi, my name is Emma. I'm 27 years old, and I've been working as a freelance graphic designer for the past 5 years. On the outside, it seems like I have it all together. I've built my career from scratch, working with clients from all over the world, living in a cozy apartment in the city, and spending my weekends exploring new cafes or going on spontaneous trips with friends. But inside, there's an emptiness I can't shake. It's like a constant weight, one that I can't seem to put down, no matter how much success I find in other parts of my life. The truth is, I've been stuck in the past, stuck in a memory that still haunts me every day. It's the story of a love that I thought was perfect, a love I thought would last forever. But life isn't a fairy tale, and sometimes people don't come back from the places they leave behind. It started 5 years ago, on a summer evening that now feels like a lifetime ago. I was 22, young, full of hope and ambition, ready to conquer the world. That was the night I met him, Alex. We were introduced by a mutual friend at a small gathering, and from the moment I saw him, I knew there was something about him that would change my life. He had that easy charm, the kind of smile that made you feel like the most important person in the room. His laugh was warm, his eyes sincere, and he had this way of making me feel understood in a way I had never experienced before. We started talking, and hours passed without either of us noticing. We shared stories, dreams, and hopes for the future. It felt like we were already connected, as if we had known each other for years. Within weeks, we were inseparable. We spent every moment together, talking about everything and nothing at all. Our relationship grew quickly, but it never felt rushed. It felt right. Alex became my best friend and the love of my life all at once. The world felt perfect when we were together, like everything had finally clicked into place. I thought this was it. I thought we had something that would last forever. But then one day, without warning, it all fell apart. It was a Tuesday afternoon, an ordinary day in every sense. I had just returned home from a meeting with a new client when I found the note. It was sitting on the kitchen counter, folded neatly with my name on it, written in his handwriting. I thought it was a joke at first. Maybe he had planned a surprise or a special evening. But when I opened it, my stomach dropped. I need space. I can't explain everything right now. I need to find myself. Please understand. I'll come back when I'm ready. Don't wait for me. I love you. I stood there, staring at the note, the words swimming in front of my eyes. I couldn't comprehend it. He loved me, he said. He promised he would come back. But what did it mean? Don't wait. For me? How could I not wait? He was everything to me. I called him, texted him, sent message after message, but there was nothing. No response. I waited for him to come home, thinking it was just a bad day, just a temporary thing. He would be back, right? I had to believe that. But he didn't come back. Days passed and weeks turned into months. Silence. I kept his favorite sweater, the one I had stolen from him on our first trip together, hanging on the back of the door. It was stupid, I know. A reminder that he was real, that we were real. But it was hard to let go of that. Letting go of him felt like letting go of myself. Every time I woke up in the morning, I expected him to be there. Every time I reached for my phone, I expected a message from him, a call, anything. But it never came. The silence was deafening. The months stretched into a year. A year turned into 2. And still, nothing. I continued to wonder, day after day, where he had gone. What happened? Why had he left without a word? Why couldn't he at least explain why? The love we had shared, the promises we made, all felt like they were disappearing into thin air. I tried to move on. I dated a few people here and there, but it never felt right. How could it? They weren't Alex. They didn't make me laugh. The way he did, they didn't look at me the way he did. No one ever compared. But even as I tried, I always found myself returning to that same question. Where is he? I never stopped looking. I tried to pretend I had moved on, but my heart never, truly did. The pain was too deep. The love was still there, buried under layers of anger, hurt, and confusion. Then last week, I received a message. I was sitting at my desk late in the evening, when my phone buzzed. It was from an unknown number. Emma, it's Alex. I know it's been a long time, and I don't expect you to want to hear from me. But I need to see you. I've made so many mistakes, and I can't keep running from them. Can we talk? I stared at the screen for what felt like an eternity. Alex, the name that had haunted me for years. The man who had disappeared without a word. What did this mean? Why was he reaching out now? I didn't know if I was ready to hear what he had to say. But there was a part of me that knew, deep down, that I needed to know the truth. I needed answers. I needed to understand what happened to us. And so, with a trembling hand, I replied, "Where?" The day I agreed to meet Alex felt surreal. It was like I was stepping into a world I had tried to forget, only to have it all come rushing back. I told myself I wasn't going to expect anything. I had built a life without him. I had learned how to be strong, independent, and move on. But the second I agreed to meet him, everything inside me unraveled. I spent the entire morning preparing for our meeting, trying to push away the nerves that were creeping up in my chest. The moment I stepped out of my apartment, I could feel the familiar ache deep inside me, like a weight in my stomach, a knot I couldn't undo. I walked to the cafe where we had planned to meet, the one we used to frequent on lazy Saturday afternoons. It felt like a place full of ghosts, the laughter, the conversations, the moments we had shared. As I walked in, my eyes immediately found him. He was sitting at a corner table, his back to me. I paused for a moment, my heart racing as memories flooded my mind. There he is, the man who had once been my world. The man I had waited for, the man I thought I knew better than anyone. But the version sitting at the table didn't match the version I had carried in my heart for so many years. He turned as I approached, and when our eyes met, something inside me twisted. There was a momentary pause, like the world held its breath. The Alex I had loved, the one with that easy smile and the warmth in his eyes, was nowhere to be found. Instead, the person sitting before me seemed older, harder, more distant. His face was drawn, the once vibrant spark in his eyes replaced by something darker, something I couldn't understand. His gaze lingered on me for a moment too long, as if he was trying to find the person he had left behind. "Hey, Emma," he said, his voice soft, almost apologetic. "It's been a long time." I forced a smile, but it didn't reach my eyes. "Yeah, it has. 5 years, to be exact." The words came out sharper than I intended, but I couldn't stop them. The anger, the hurt, the confusion, it all came rushing back, and I wasn't sure how to keep it inside anymore. He looked at me, his expression strained. "I didn't expect you to be happy to see me," he said quietly, his gaze dropping to the table. "I wouldn't blame you if you're angry, I deserve that. You deserve more than just anger, Alex, I replied, my voice trembling despite my efforts to stay composed. You left me with no explanation. You left me in silence, wondering why. Do you even understand how much that hurt? He didn't answer right away. He just sat there, looking at me with those sad eyes, the same eyes that used to make me feel safe, loved. Now they felt like a stranger's eyes. I know I hurt you, he said softly, his voice breaking. And I can't take that back. I don't have an excuse for why I left. I thought I was doing the right thing by leaving, by walking away. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. I didn't know how to face you, or myself for that matter. And I thought, if I just left, maybe I could figure things out. But I didn't. I stared at him, my heart a tangled mess of emotions. He didn't know how to face me. What did that even mean? How could someone who loved you disappear without even giving you the chance to say goodbye? I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. So, you just left without a word? Without even thinking about how I'd feel? You thought you were doing the right thing? How is that supposed to make sense to me, Alex? His face twisted in pain, like my words were cutting through him. I was lost, Emma. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I thought leaving was the only way to fix it. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to make you feel like you didn't matter. But I was so consumed by my own mess that I couldn't see what I was doing to you. I felt a sting in my chest, but it wasn't just anger now. It was something deeper. Something I couldn't ignore. Was it possible? Could he really be sorry? Could I even believe him after all this time? I'd spent so long trying to make sense of what had happened, trying to move on and build a life without him, that now that he was here so close, I didn't know what I was supposed to do with the feelings that were coming back, unbidden and raw. You think you can just walk back into my life and say all these things and expect me to believe you? I asked, my voice shaking with emotion. You've been gone for years, Alex. I don't know if I can trust you again. I know you don't trust me, he whispered, his eyes filled with sorrow. And I don't expect you to. I wouldn't blame you if you never could. But I need you to know that I've changed. I've been working on myself. I'm not the same person I was when I left. I'm sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry. The sincerity in his voice made my heart ache. That the walls I had built around myself, the ones that had kept me safe from the pain of losing him, were harder to break than I had realized. The truth was, I had spent so long burying my feelings for him, building a life without him, that I wasn't sure I knew how to feel anymore. You don't get to just come back and expect everything to go back to normal, I said softly, almost to myself. I don't even know who you are anymore, Alex. I know, he replied quietly. I don't expect you to. But I need you to understand. I've missed you. I've missed us. I can't keep living with this regret. I just want the chance to make things right. Even if it's too late, I need to try. His words hit me like a wave, and for a moment I could barely breathe. Could I give him that chance? Could I let myself feel for him again, after everything he had put me through? I didn't know. I stood up from the table, the decision weighing heavily on my shoulders. I need time, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I need to think. I need to figure out what I want. He didn't try to stop me. Instead, he nodded, his face etched with regret. I'll wait, Emma, however long it takes. I walked away from him, but as I left the cafe, I couldn't shake the feeling that my heart was being pulled in two directions. Part of me wanted to run away from it all, to never see him again, and keep the life I had fought so hard to build. But another part of me, the part that still loved him, wondered if I could ever find my way back to the man I had once known. The question hung in the air. Could we rebuild what was lost, or was it too late? Days turned into weeks after our meeting, and the air between us was thick with unspoken words. Every time I saw Alex, whether it was in passing or by chance, it felt like there was a distance between us, a distance that hadn't been there before. There were moments when I saw a flicker of the man I once knew, the warm smile, the soft laugh, the way he'd look at me like no one else mattered. But those moments were fleeting. The man who had left was still a ghost hanging over everything. And the weight of what had happened, what he had done, still loomed large. Spent the next few days thinking about nothing else but him. I found myself replaying every moment of our time together. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I thought about our first date, our first kiss, the way he used to hold me like I was the most important person in the world. I thought about the dreams we'd shared, the future we'd planned. But then I also remembered the day he left. The silence. The feeling of being abandoned by the one person I trusted more than anyone. I had spent so much time building a life. Without him, I had filled my time with work, with friends, with distractions. But the truth was, I had never really moved on. I had never let go of him completely. And now, after all these years, he was back, asking for a second chance, and I had to decide whether to open my heart again or close it for good. It was late afternoon when I finally agreed to meet him again. We hadn't seen each other in over a week, and the uncertainty in my heart had reached a breaking point. I needed to understand. I needed closure. I needed answers to the questions that had been eating away at me for so long. The cafe was quiet when I arrived. The kind of peaceful quiet that only comes at the end of the day, when people are starting to wind down. I sat at the same table, where we had shared so many memories, and as I waited for him, the silence seemed to grow louder. When Alex finally walked in, my heart skipped a beat. He looked different, still the same, but different. His hair was slightly longer, his face a little more rugged, and there was a sadness in his eyes that made my heart ache. But there was something else there too, something I hadn't seen before. A vulnerability, a rawness that made him seem more human, more real than he ever had been. He saw me and paused for a moment, as though he was unsure if I would even want to talk to him. When he walked over to the table, I could feel the tension between us thick enough to touch. "Hi," he said, sitting down across from me, his voice almost tentative. I nodded, forcing a smile. "Hi." There was an awkward silence, one of those moments where neither of you knows how to begin. He was the one to break it. "I know I don't have the right to ask anything from you," he said, his eyes searching mine. "But I need you to understand something. I've had time to think, and I've realized that I've made so many mistakes. I've hurt you, and I know that. I never meant to leave you with all this pain." My heart wrenched at his words. I had spent so many nights trying to understand why he left, why he couldn't just tell me the truth. And now, hearing him say those words, I didn't know if I should feel relief or resentment. "You can't just apologize and expect everything to be okay," I said quietly, trying to hold back the tears that were threatening to spill. "You left me, Alex. You left without a word, without even a chance for me to say goodbye. Do you know how that felt? How many nights I spent wondering if I ever meant anything to you, wondering if you ever really loved me." He looked down, his face etched with regret. "I know, and I hate myself for it. I was so caught up in my own struggles, so lost in my own mess, that I couldn't see what I was doing to you. I didn't think about how it would affect you. All I thought about was getting away, trying to figure out who I was. I thought leaving you behind would somehow fix things, but it didn't. It just made everything worse." I took a shaky breath, trying to process his words. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that the person sitting across from me wasn't the same person who had walked away from me so easily. But how could I? How could I trust him again? I waited for you, I whispered, my voice breaking. I waited for you. Every single day. And when you didn't come back, I had to learn how to live without you. It wasn't easy. I had to rebuild myself, rebuild my life. And now, after all these years, you're back, telling me you've changed. But how do I know that? How do I know you won't just leave again? I won't leave again, he said, his voice full of certainty. I can't promise that I won't make mistakes, but I can promise that I'll never run away from you. Again. I love you, Emma. I always have and I always will. I'm asking for a chance. Just one chance to prove that I can be the man you deserve. His words hit me like a punch. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to reach out and take his hand. To say that everything would be okay. That we could start over. That the scars from the past were too deep, and I wasn't sure if I could just erase them. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said softly, my heart torn between the love I still had for him and the pain he had caused. I don't know if I can trust you again. Alex's face fell, and for the first time I saw the true weight of his regret. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just need you to know how sorry I am. I need you to know that I'm here now, and not going anywhere. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. I could feel the weight of everything, the love, the pain, the years that had passed. In that moment, I realized that the hardest part of love isn't just the waiting. It's the decision to let someone back in, knowing that they could hurt. You again. I stood up, my legs shaking. I need time, Alex, I said, my voice trembling. I need time to figure out what I want. I can't make this decision right now. He nodded slowly, understanding in his eyes. Take all the time. You need, Emma. I'll wait. I just need you to know how much I love you. And how sorry I am. As I walked away, I felt the weight of his words settling on my shoulders. The love was still there, but so was the fear. Could I trust him again? Could I allow myself to love him after all this time? The question still lingered in the air. Was it too late for us?